As Beijing controls the housing market, China's prices are declining, creating concerns about domestic and international economic growth. The housing sector in China is currently experiencing a slow-moving catastrophe. As authorities try to control market speculation and excessive debt, real estate values have fallen. As developers fail to finish housing developments on time, hundreds of thousands of homebuyers are refusing to pay their mortgages on residences that have already been sold. Here we will talk on China housing collapse in the discussion, according to Cathie Wood's point of view. The video is going to be very interesting, so make sure you stuck at end. Before we continue to our video, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to never miss any of our future uploads. Now let's get started. Contrary to other major countries, China has recently lowered interest rates in an effort to combat a worsening real estate problem and the economic fallout from its zero-COVID policy. The normally robust property market in the nation has been impacted by a funding issue that has halted development and resulted in home buyers refusing to make mortgage payments. The risk that has built up in the industry as it has evolved over the past 20 years has been highlighted by the recent wave of mortgage strikes by home buyers across China. In Jingdezhen City, Jiangxi Province, a group of home buyers in an Evergrande property initiated a mortgage strike earlier this year. Since then, however, demonstrations have expanded to homebuyers in other buildings around China. According to online informal surveys, more than 300 homeowner groups are allegedly defying home loans worth between $150 billion and $370 billion. All of these demonstrators have one thing in common. They've been making monthly mortgage payments on houses they have never lived in, frequently at a rate of 5% to 6%. Why China property is in trouble? China's property issues are partially the product of intentional policy choices. Beijing implemented a 3 red lines policy in August 2020 to gradually deflate a huge property bubble that had been building for years. The strategy aimed to reduce the economy's excessive reliance on real estate and to rein in the speculation that had driven up housing costs beyond the means of many Chinese middle-class families. To borrow money from banks and other financial institutions, developers had to adhere to tight criteria for sound financial health, including a 100% cap on net debt to equity. It turned out that several developers had been operating outside of the 3 red lines and had accumulated significant debt. As a result of the new regulations, the sector was abruptly unable to borrow, which caused a significant liquidity shortage. Since then, the sector's problems have gotten worse as cash-strapped developers have battled to finish projects on time. Pre-sale property purchaser demonstrations, which started in the southeasterly city of Jingdezhen earlier this year, have now expanded to around 100 cities and involve some 300 homeowner associations. Cathie Wood's point of view. The events in China the previous year alerted Cathie Wood to a problem. Next, discuss how this led to China's current behavior. Experts are extremely concerned about a worldwide recession as a result, which is why Cathie Wood first pointed out alarming indications emanating from China back in November 2021. When she noticed alarming trends in China's housing rules, she noticed that the country had been experiencing a real estate boom for the previous 10 years. In 2018, 88 skyscrapers taller than 650 feet had been completed in China. Alone, this has been fueled by a significant increase in the population of their cities, as many people have moved from the nation's more rural areas and into one of China's megacities. For certain people in China, this has led to an unparalleled level of wealth. But this increase has also resulted in an unprecedented rise in inequality. The fact that the wealthy real estate owners continued to get richer while the rest of the population lagged behind prompted China's government, led by Xi Jinping, to decide to address the rife speculation. The problem is that real estate in China doesn't really operate in the same manner as it does in Western countries like the United States, which is what was driving up house prices in the country. The wider effects. The biggest threat to China's housing market right now is the potential for a wave of developer bankruptcy, which may leave a lot of unfinished homes on the market. This is hardly alarmism. Chinese builders frequently take out large loans to finance current projects. Some of the top corporations have debt-to-asset ratios that are considerably higher than the industry standard of 65%. Banks and local governments. The two main drivers of China's growth might be affected by the danger from the real estate sector, which also has the potential to affect the entire economy. Banks lend to both consumers and developers. Thus, a collapse in the property market could result in an increase in bad loans. The good news is that these loans only make up a small part of the total lending made by banks. By the end of 2021, mortgage loans would have made up slightly under 20% of all bank loans in accordance with my own calculations based on government data. Yet, as stated by the main banks, only approximately 0.1% of those loans are impacted by the current strikes. However, just 6.2% of all loans held by Chinese banks are for real estate investments. However, significant defaults could prompt banks to tighten lending standards, further decreasing market liquidity. Why does China's property crisis matter? A third of China's economic production comes from the real estate industry. This comprises businesses that manufacture white goods for apartments, rental and brokerage services, housing, and businesses that provide building supplies. However, China's economy has been slowing down. In the most recent quarter, it expanded by just 0.4% over the same period last year. Some economists predict that this year will see no growth. Beijing's zero-COVID approach is largely to blame for this. Repeated lockdowns and ongoing restrictions have had an impact on incomes, which has then had an impact on savings and investments. 30 real estate firms have previously neglected to make payments on their international debt. The most well-known victim was Evergrande, which missed payments on a $300 billion loan last year. If sales do not increase, additional companies may follow following, according to S&P. Could this drive a global economic crash? China's economic issues, which are already exacerbated by Beijing's strict zero-COVID rules and the weakening of global development, are made significantly worse by the country's property problems. According to some estimates, real estate makes up 30% of GDP, which is twice as much as it does in the US. Although some observers think the market has bottomed out, the sector's problems are anticipated to last for some time. A worse decrease than that saw during the 2008 financial crisis was predicted by S&P Global Ratings in July for a 30% decline in real estate values this year. According to Tenio's Wildout, that's simply a massive portion of the economy that's kind of underwater now. Even maintaining the current pace, in my opinion, is unsustainable. The global economy is not thought to be at a high risk of the type of financial crisis sparked by the collapse of Lehman Brothers in the United States, according to Alicia Garca-Herrero, the chief Asia-Pacific economist at Natixis in Hong Kong. Since Chinese property developers hold relatively small amounts of overseas debt, the global economy is not considered to be at a high risk of the kind of financial crisis sparked by the collapse of Lehman Brothers in the United States. However, a significant slowdown might still have a significant impact on global growth due to China's size, which accounts for approximately 1/5 of global GDP. An economic collapse of that magnitude is unlikely to occur in China. Analysts believe that it may be headed for a long decline that slows down global growth in the upcoming years. What is China doing about the crisis? Beijing has made it clear that, despite its desire to lessen the economy's reliance on the sector, supporting the real estate market is a crucial duty. Officials stated the need to stabilize the real estate market at a meeting of China's top decision-making body in July, stressing that local governments should assume responsibility for ensuring that pre-sold properties are finished. Chinese media site Caixin claimed earlier this month that Beijing was ready to release 200 billion yuan in loans to finish and complete housing projects. In addition, Beijing has implemented policies to stimulate the economy more broadly, including the announcement this week of 300 billion yuan in additional loans through its state-run policy banks. Other policies include decreasing interest rates and implementing stimulus, the economist at Oxford Economics stated in a note. In fact, the statement from the Politburo meeting in July emphasizes the necessity of stabilizing the real estate market and guaranteeing the delivery of homes. We believe it is improbable that the federal government would be behind these initiatives. China's efforts to support the market may ultimately be limited, as Beijing is expected to stick to its 3 red lines and Chinese President Xi Jinping's adage that houses are for living in, not for speculation. Instead, authorities will likely ask local governments, banks, and property developers to coordinate and ensure that unfinished housing projects are completed. What is the government doing? One way Beijing is doing this is by placing the responsibility on local governments. They are providing reduced down payments, tax breaks, and cash subsidies to homebuyers as well as relief funds to developers. The local economy will suffer as a result of less land being purchased by real estate developers. Therefore, this comes at a price. The Mr. Ding is right for the central government and regulators to move in. The Financial Times recently reported that China issued $148 billion in loans to help property developers, and Bloomberg reported that mortgage holders may be given a payment holiday without it affecting their credit score. However, Oxford Economics recently stated that while any government intervention in real estate and infrastructure may boost growth in the short term, it is not ideal for China's longer-term growth because it forces the government and the financial sector to support an unproductive and failing real estate industry. Additionally, this goes beyond the financial crisis. Mr. Ding warned that the boycott of mortgages could develop into a significant social problem, and it could cause issues for President Xi Jinping in the run-up to the important party conference later this year, at which he is anticipated to run for an unprecedented third term. Hope you guys enjoyed our video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more videos. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day.